It's your boy Dustin from the Flying Chairs, the Rise podcast, and today, oh shit, you won't believe it. I got Michelle here with me. This girl is awesome. I saw her on Facebook, and I was like, I gotta get to know her because she's a physical medium, and she does some awesome shit. And I just like wanted to get to know her more, and so I thought I'd invite her on the podcast. So me and Melissa are excited to hear your backstory. So can you tell everybody where you grew up and how you found yourself in this field?
So I am an army brat, of course.
Oh,
So I spent a lot of my time in Europe.
oh,
Um, and my story kind of goes like long, long time ago, when I was a little tyke. We traveled a lot. We stayed mainly in Europe. So I really enjoyed that piece. And then, the abilities were there, not
mm,
knowing they were there. And the crazy thing is, people get a little floored about this stuff because I see them at the time of their death.
mm,
So I don't see the beautiful angelic or anything like that. I see them when something has happened, and that's when they had their passing. And
oh,
so as a child, growing up over there at first, it's like you couldn't talk to anyone about that stuff. So, it was kind of one of those, like, it was a total nightmare for me all the time.
mm,
And it wasn't cool to know anything about ghosts or spirits or anything like that. It's always you try to talk about it, imaginary friends, things like that. And it's like with telling those tall tales. That was kind of my way I was brought up, and you just keep trying to push it down and push it down. No dolls, no toys, because they would play with it, and to me that was scary. So it was kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to sleep under the covers and hopefully daylight comes soon. So
Oh, Michelle, that is so relatable. My goodness, I know exactly what you mean, having these experiences as a child. And I remember very similar to what you are saying, waking up in the middle of the night and a spirit was playing with my toys. I had like this tiny little tricycle in my room and I saw something climbing on it and I let out this scream, woke my parents, and just like
yep.
you, this was something that was frowned upon. It's just your imagination. It doesn't exist. And you feel like, you don't have anyone to talk about it with. So you just kind of keep it inside. I completely understand what you're saying with having those similar experiences.
yeah.
Yeah, it's scary because
Mhm.
I remember it was so terrifying. So where I grew up in Germany,
Oh,
my Oma, who was grandma, oh, his grandma,
yeah.
my little chore was to walk to the corner and get the fresh bread and the lunch meat. So, like when my dad and them would come for lunch, she would have all that. And that's
Oh,
something I
wow.
did every day. And you always heard, don't talk to strangers, don't take candy from strangers. So, this is where I thought I was going batshit crazy because every day I did this, this car would pull up next to me. And I knew what the color of the car was, everything. I knew what the guy looked like, and the little blonde-headed girl in the back seat, who still to this day gives me nightmares.
Mm.
She looked like she had been beaten up, was real dirty, and he kept trying to get me into the car. And I would
Oh my God.
ignore it and run home. And it just did it, never said nothing. Well, one day he actually leaned over towards that, so it scared me. I went home to start talking and saying, this guy tried to get me in the car. The little girl shaking her head no, and all this. It was real. So when I see him like I'm seeing you guys,
Wow.
flesh kind of thing. So,
Okay.
and
Apparition.
here I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, no, I'm telling. Now, my uncles, they were police officers in Germany. They're coming
Uh-huh.
over, but they were drilling and kept saying, you must be lying. We can't find this. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying, to the point of where you finally go, okay, did I just make this up? And
Right?
you just buckle.
Hmm.
And it has haunted me my whole life.
Wow.
And then as
Scary.
I got older, it was finally there, it was kind of like, boom, this is it.
Hmm.
So the gentleman was in jail. He had passed away, and the little
Whoa.
girl is someone he kidnapped and
Oh,
killed.
wow.
Huh.
And I'm like, you're waiting till adulthood to tell me I was right the whole freaking time, you
Right?
know? And
Hmm.
Man.
when they talk about getting interrogated, I understand why people finally buckle and say whatever needs to be said
Right?
because I felt so bad. My head was spinning.
Hmm.
And, when you're like that 7 years old or so around that age, you're really going, okay, maybe because they said it all the time. What did I make this up?
Right?
But it was the most horrific thing. And so I really shoved that stuff away. And then
Yes.
one day it finally said, no to the hell no. It was time to wake up. And I'm like, oh my God.
Uh-huh. Did you have something specific happen to you where it came back full force? Because that's exactly what happened to me. I can relate to you in so many ways where adults are telling you there's no such thing, and then you're questioning, your credibility, your sanity, all of those things. And I remember as an adult about 10 years ago, it came back full force. Like you said, I woke up and I was seeing spirits constantly. It was frightening. And something inside of me was saying, okay, you need to accept that this is a part of you. So I totally get what you're saying. But did something like specific happen to you that came back full force that you just had to embrace this and understand that it's a part of you and, make sense of it?
Well, I kept my life kind of in this chaos.
Mhm.
And I think the chaos is what covered it up. And you
Mm.
know how they always say, he listens to you, but you have to be still. My chaos calmed down. I became still. And then all of a sudden, hello, chaos, and it just come full force like, okay, now you don't have it. And that's why the stuff that I do, demonology and that kind of stuff, was my own journey because I was trying to figure out my own mind because I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I hear all these beautiful stories psychic mediums talk about, your loved ones and all this. And I'm like, God, it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's beautiful, it's angelic. I'm seeing monsters. And
Whoa.
I'm like, okay, is there something wrong with me? What's going
Yes.
on? Does that make sense? So to kind of explain it is if I go into a place that has so much negative energy, so let's talk about like the asylums from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
We're not happy places. So you have all this grief, all this negativity growing in there, and it kind of manifests itself into this blob,
Mhm.
like the movie The Blob.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Or it becomes this creature, and the only way I can explain it, it looks like the movie, Alien. And
Oh yeah.
so I'm seeing this kind of stuff going, what the hell? You know, who are you going to talk to about this? I mean, seriously, people will believe in Bigfoot and UFOs, but I'm talking about seeing blobs.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to bring some kind of voice to that darker side of not talking demonic, but the darker side of what history was.
Oh
Yes.
sure.
If you think about history books, it's all propaganda. It's believe what we put out there.
Yeah.
Everybody that was in history was perfect.
They said Columbus was a nice man.
Yeah. So, but those people would walk behind closed doors. And so many people didn't have voices.
Mhm.
And so then I started noticing spirits kept coming but they were telling me their story. And I kept
Hmm.
going, okay, this is why I got lashes on my back. This is why my throat's cut. This is why I got the handprints. And I stayed still and I started listening. And I'm like, holy crap. My position in this whole thing is giving spirit voice,
Yes.
not the living. The spirits couldn't talk about it, and now they want to talk about it, and so that's how it became. And then of course, if I let them channel through me, they can speak it out loud. But a lot of times just knowing that I'm listening and I'm like, okay, this isn't some cray cray, this is actually, I found my purpose. But why am I still seeing the crazy alien stuff? And
Sure.
found out I was able to navigate that dark energy that was forming itself And my brain was just putting it in a perspective that I could understand or
Sure.
scream and run or whatever that case might look like at that point. And so that's kind of why I started looking more that darker side of things that are happening of history was dark.
Yes.
Yeah, let's still. Yeah,
These places were dark.
yeah.
I'm not going to walk into an asylum and think you're saying, oh, all our spirits are so happy to be here. Yeah, no.
No.
So that's a lie because
Y- y-
that's not what they're telling me.
Yep.
that reminds me a lot about the jinn. You ever heard about the jinn?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So that's a lot of like the parallel universe that we live with, these demons that kind of show themselves, especially if you have your third eye opened up already to this other universe and other
yes,
things, they will present themselves to you, or like show, what I'm saying? It's just so crazy.
yeah.
And I love the stories of the jinn, and it's like more of the Middle Eastern talk, but again, it's so crazy. Like, yeah,
Well, and you got to remember every place we're at, are different compared to it.
sure.
And if you talk to a lot of people and ask about demons, they just know about it, the fallen angels. They don't
Mhm.
realize hell was already there. God already knew hell was there, and I'm pretty sure he was the one collecting the rent. You know what I mean? So
Got the bill.
when he cast them out, he already cast them into that void. So you have demons that have never been earthbound. They were never angels. They were literally demons that have always been there beyond the days of time.
Mhm.
And so when we start throwing that word out, we got to kind of, because we don't know what kind of demons do come, the
Yeah.
ones that might not follow the free will law, and,
Mhm.
but we give a lot of energy to it, a lot of
Yes.
energy. So,
Mhm. Yes.
so
I know
that's
there are
why I
different.
answered that way.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Go right
interrupt
ahead, go
you.
right ahead.
Yep. But I know that there are people who follow the path of demonolatry and who work with them. And I know there are different, I want to say, pantheons of demons. And I find
Yeah.
it very interesting. And I'm not well versed in the subject, but I can understand what you're saying, how they were never earthbound. And I know that the people who work with them believe that they have lessons to teach us. So I have mixed feelings about it. Is it wise to work with them? Is it not wise to work with them? Are they trying to trick you? Are they trying to
They are tricksters.
get to your level and make you believe that they are positive beings, that they have your best intentions? These are the things that I question. And again, I'm not well versed in the subject, to make heads or tails of it. But the people I know who work with them swear that they're great teachers, and maybe they are for these individuals. So I'm interested to get your take on it. What do you feel, Michelle?
Well, when we're talking about whether we talk about the fallen angels or we talk just the demons themselves, now again, this is my opinion and my belief. So I'm not telling people you got to ride my, ride,
Right.
but you're talking about beings that don't have emotions, don't have feelings, don't have anything. So how can you tell me that they're working with me because they have my best interest?
Right.
I kind of have a hard time believing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're talking about things that have been here before, the days of time and everything else. They have, riddled things like that. They're the types that can stay in the back. A demon can walk into a church.
Yeah.
They can
Absolutely.
sit and watch you and mimic you. They can shapeshift. They can do all of that. But yet they don't care what you feel. They don't care if you're crying. They don't care if you're depressed. I just have a hard time now. If there's people working with them, that is, what they want to do. I personally, absolutely not. Because again, we have free will, but you got to remember free will comes with a price.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything has a price.
Mhm.
So,
I agree. I do not feel confident working with them either. I agree completely with what you said. They are my thoughts exactly, and I prefer to protect my peace.
yes.
So that's what it comes down to. And when you say physical mediumship, how does that different? how is that different from somebody who receives, they just receive regular messages from the living? I know you were describing receiving lashes. I'm so sorry. You might hear my dog barking in the background, but is this all part of the realm of physical mediumship? Like, your what you described. Is this something that you typically encounter when you're working with spirits?
Yes. So you
Hmm.
have to set boundaries. One, because you got to remember they want to use you too. Now, will
Yeah.
I allow some of them to use me because they have to say something on the physical? But also a physical medium, people have to understand we can bring spirit in.
Oh,
So
wow.
not just bring a loved one forward, but we can go into a place and let spirit come closer and let them be part of whatever you're doing. So you're using yourself and everything that you have, but also, and I don't know about other physical mediums, like I know you guys spoke about one gentleman. I definitely can't do that. But I do know if I go into a location and I can bring them in and they can, speak or touch and make sure people know they're there. If there are messages, I make sure I get those out. But I've, had that validated on recorders and things like that, that they're there with us. And I have been told that my face does morph a little bit because
Whoa.
there is a lot of them, or my eyes will turn super black, things like that. So,
Whoa. Yo, that's insane. That's awesome. No, I was gonna say with the guy I was talking about earlier, Kai from Austria. He was explaining to me that he just can't really wield the power or wield all the spirituality at will. He has to have other psychic mediums and other spiritual, like hardcore spiritual people around him. He's just like basically a tool for the spirits to use him to come through, and they will come out physically again with the ectoplasm that was coming out of his nose and mouth, and it was just it's insane. He actually has people touch it, and he has the tables floating around. The fact that he like had the circle of people around the table. And he would tell people that have their hands on top of his hands and their feet on top of his feet. So he has no there's no way
yeah,
he's
yeah.
moving the table himself. So
Mhm.
again, I love how close and intimate the physical psychic mediumship that you see these old pictures of the black and white pictures of some of these people who actually had these ectoplasm experiences and stuff like that. And a lot of this stems from Europe. A lot of this the psychic like the Nazis too. They had the that one society what is it called? Well, they all had the psychic mediums and other things
Yeah,
that are
for the
trying
year
to
before
wield.
war. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yep.
The remote viewing and all that. But no,
I
it's
love working with other mediums and stuff. I
yeah.
really do
Well, you gotta
because
meet Kai, and he talks
if
like a guy
you,
who she'd been born in 19 or sorry 1500s or something like that.
1800s, yeah.
Yeah, seriously, he talks like
yeah,
a wizard.
but when you get the right energies together,
Mhm.
and again, that's when ego and stuff has to be put to the side.
Yes.
Because like when I go into certain places or when I'm even doing a private call or whatever, you're trying to find out why it's happening and what is causing the disturbance. And sometimes the energy with different types of mediums and stuff will actually enhance and I feel like it's almost like a vortex opens up.
Yes.
Mm,
And what that does, it brings that energy force and makes that light even bigger. And it kind of puts us on their level more so the communication is clearer.
sure.
And different mediums see things different, hear things different. But when you get the right mixture, it's
Yes.
like everybody
Powerful.
can see what everybody can see. It's like,
Mhm.
I want you to
Right.
see what I see. And then you start hearing, and they're like, wait a minute, are you saying this? And I'm like, welcome to my world you know,
Yeah.
and it is so important that, again, you have to work together,
Yes.
especially if you're trying to help someone, you have to work together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because everybody brings something unique to the table. Because as you said, everybody receives information a little bit differently,
Yep.
and those who are, they're embracing their mediumship. They're coming into themselves. If I can offer them any advice, is to be your own medium. Like, it's great to learn from other teachers. It's great to sit in development circles, but in the end, how you receive information is going to be different than the next person, sitting beside you.
Yeah.
Because what I don't like is when certain spiritual teachers will try to create cookie cutter mediums. Because I
Correct.
feel like you are not doing that person any favors. You're putting too much pressure on them, and you are not allowing the information to flow as it should. It should be a natural flow without trying too hard, if you know what I mean.
Or yeah, and not holding back, because some will
Yes.
hold back because you're afraid that if you get a little more than someone else, they're
Hmm.
going to look down on you. And I don't. I am like, I need you to open up. I need you to let it flow, because there's times where I
Yeah.
don't get anything right away. It might take a little more, but as you're doing what you're
Yep.
doing, sometimes that starts opening that doorway, and then it starts becoming, and I'm going to tell you, when you can put a whole puzzle together, it is the most phenomenal thing ever.
Isn't
Love it.
Absolutely.
it? I bet.
Yeah. Now, when you work with spirit, if you go into these locations, like say perhaps an asylum where you know that, the energy is a little dark, and we know it's because the spirits had such a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, do you need to protect yourself? Like, do you have to go through certain measures first before you allow spirits to communicate with you?
Yes. I kind of put it, well, everybody has their own way, bubbles, ground their feet and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm a squirrel. I cannot get into that meditative state.
Uh-huh.
So
You
I walk
squirrel.
in and I kind of put a circle around me and say, you cannot pass this circle until I let you in. And you'll be surprised. They do listen.
Yeah, they do.
Now you might have some that try to come knocking in, and I just kind of do one of these, like, not
Hmm.
right
Talk to
now.
the hand. Nope, nope.
Absolutely. I'm not ready. But you'll be surprised, because you got to remember, you know, they're super excited
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
somebody actually hears them,
Mhm.
Yep.
and things like that. And so you're just kind of slowing them down, and you're going to give them their time if it matches what needs to be done. But I have tried to sit there and imagine myself in a bubble, or imagine my feet going down into the ground.
Mhm.
I wish I could do that, but while I'm thinking about my feet going on the ground, I'm going, oh yeah, I need to go on top three floor because this one was saying this. And I'm like, oh, I got to start
Yeah.
over. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's not working. So, and again, like you said, Melissa, is I kind of work the way I work, you
Hmm.
know. People sit and look at me because, I will sit and I'll walk in a room and go, make faces. And they're like, well, what are you seeing? Well, I don't know, not realizing I should be explaining to people what I'm actually seeing, because my face is getting all distorted. And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like,
So you must I'm assuming that it's there must be a balance inside of you where you feel like, okay, you're still you. You do not feel that, I can imagine you don't feel like they are completely taking over you. You are still in control of yourself. You're just setting that boundary where you're allowing them to communicate with you, but they are not possessing you, for lack of a better word.
correct.
Hmm.
Unless I allow them. If it's something that, let's say they need to say something else and they need
Right.
me, they can for a little bit. Now, mind you, I have been jumped by spirit.
Okay.
Well, it was
Whoa.
three of them at one time, and
Oh.
I couldn't breathe. I was
Oh my
fighting to
God.
get them out. Well, it was such a horrific thing before them. I think they all wanted it once, and I wasn't ready for any of them,
Oh,
and let my guard down.
Mhm.
So it happens, and it's not the greatest thing, but
oh
it
my
does
God.
happen. So I'm very focused now when I do things. Even if I'm at an event and we're doing an investigation, I always make sure I step away. I do my thing before I kind of go in, because you got to remember, people are bringing their own stuff in.
Oh
So
shit.
I'm navigating through this whole time, and so my guard's up just a little bit higher.
Yeah. You don't want to bring a tag along home with you either,
Oh
After leaving
no,
an area, it's like,
it's
oh
kind of like,
fuck.
bloop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And has that ever happened to you before? Have you ever had an experience where something followed you home, and you felt it, you sensed it, and you were like, hey, listen, I'm sorry, but this is not okay. You need to back off. We said our goodbyes. Have you ever had an experience like that?
I had one try to follow me home. The great thing is, again, I'm not good with meditation, but my home is a fortress.
Hmm.
It has got the barriers up that nothing crosses over, period. When I come home, that's my sanctuary. There's no communicating, there's doing nothing.
Hmm.
So it kind of took that barrier. The worst one I think ever had is a hitchhiker literally in my backseat of my car and wouldn't get out. And you're sitting there looking at it going, okay, you can leave now, thinking if you get to a certain part of the road, it just poof, gone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, that wasn't happening. He was going on a long ride. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's this
Wow.
no, you got to go. So,
Yeah.
and I call them hitchhikers because they do, but you think about it, you're driving down all these highways, you see all the crosses on the side of the road.
Oh,
There's
shit.
a lot of them. You would not believe it. Sometimes if people could see what I see, because I have to block that out to drive, because if not, I'm doing the swerving stuff because it's like watching a whole bunch of walking zombies.
Wow.
And it
Oh,
is terrifying.
Oh,
And people have to understand that, you got to remember that's something so tragic. I mean, an instant you're going somewhere, and next thing you know, you're like, where the hell am I?
oh
right.
my God. So this reminds me so much of like the Sixth Sense, the movie, you know what I'm saying? The kid was
Mhm.
seeing all the terrifying ghosts of right after their deaths, and they're all kind of like mutilated or half their brains blown up. No, it's just the fact that like they maybe spirits know who can see them or
Oh, they
hear
do.
them. So, what I'm saying? Like they're instantly attracted. Or it is scary. Who knows? Might be really confusing in the afterlife, knowing like, or some people stay here and not go to the light, like how they explained it in Poltergeist. Although that little old woman, psychic woman,
Yeah.
it's just
This house
amazing.
is clean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
But
but you
no.
remember, people ask me that all the time. They're like, well, why do they keep coming back?
Hmm.
No, you got to remember, just like, and I use the asylums as a great example, because you got to remember back in the day, if anybody thought you had something wrong with you, especially women, if you talked back to your husband, you went mad.
Yes.
And we have a place here in Iowa that it would be at around midnight, men would drop off their wives or their children, whatever, and take off and never come back.
Oh.
Now, you think about that in that while you're living, you're getting put into some place. People think you're crazy and you're not. Now you have doctors and nurses doing practices on you, trying to figure out what is wrong with you, whether, are you psychosis, whatever that case is. And you're looking out the window hoping that somebody's going to come and pick you up, but there's never nobody to pick you up.
Mhm.
There's no
Yes.
cell phones. So they are still trapped waiting for someone to pick them up.
Hmm.
And people don't seem to understand that. I think a lot of people think, oh, just because they pass now, they're at peace. Well, they're not at peace because they're still confused,
Yes.
of what the hell just happened to me.
Hmm.
And so that is the stuff that I'm seeing and feeling, and the desperation and stuff like that. And then when they do all those practices on you, you don't know if you're going to come out. Electrical shock therapy, you know, what is too much? We don't know. They didn't know. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how I try to make those examples of that's why some of these people are still around.
Yep.
Hmm.
They want their stories heard. And like you said, they're still confused. They're
Oh,
still confused.
absolutely.
Yeah, that reminds me. Now I live in the Philadelphia area, and I was just at the Penhurst Paracon. You probably have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes, and the Penhurst buildings are obviously still standing, and you could tour them, and you can feel the heaviness and the sadness because many people passed away. I think they said about half the residents passed away at that facility, and it's extremely heartbreaking. And they have a lot of the beds there, the furniture, and you can go in there and you can feel the sadness because, as you
Mhm.
said, a lot of the folks. I mean, I don't know percentage wise, but a good amount of the folks were just unwanted. They were just
Correct.
unwanted by their families. They may not have had a disability. They were just dropped off there, and it's a very sad situation. And you feel the heaviness in those places. And these spirits just want their stories heard. You know.
Absolutely. And like in the
Yeah.
Midwest, I'm not sure like on the East Coast and stuff, but the Midwest, a lot of these places started off as poor farms.
Mhm.
And especially if the husband passed, females were not allowed to own land or anything. So they got everything stripped from them. And then here they are with a handful of children being put at a place because that's where they're going to have to live unless they had family. Now there's not enough money funding this kind of stuff. So now they're going to add an asylum to it. So you got young children with other people trying to coexist. So you got to remember back then, since they didn't know much, a lot of that was happening. And, it was disastrous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it turned into an old folks home. So the
Yeah.
people who are just about to cross over was seeing all that stuff. And that was probably horrific for them too. So,
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
I live in Madison, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin is known
yeah.
for the serial killers and other haunted houses and stuff. We have like the
Yeah.
haunted mansions here, and and even in Madison, we have this there's a bar called the Ohio off of Atwood, and they actually had ghost teams and TV shows come to this place because it's really popular of having like bottles being thrown from the
Oh,
shelves
wow.
and stools being flipped, and there's just a long history of this weird shit happening there since the 1920s. I guess there's weird suicides, multiple suicides,
Mhm.
weird fires that would happen at the building, and yeah, there's like
Wow.
people just go there just hopes to get a glimpse of a ghost doing something crazy there.
Yep.
You know, so it's kind of cool to hear multiple ghost teams and TV shows go there. That's kind of just a hot spot to be like,
Yeah.
that's the
That's
real ghost
cool.
bar,
Yeah. They probably called it, is it known as the Ghost Bar, Dustin?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
It is.
the
It
Ohio.
is.
Yeah. I like
That's
it on the
cool.
menu. They have like the little ghost, little logo. It's really cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. If
Cool.
I ever make it out there, I am going there.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get Melissa to come to Madison, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
The Midwest is
ASAP.
not bad. It's got a lot of haunted locations.
It does, yeah.
That's super cool. The one thing that I'm dying to ask is, so is it easy to tell the difference between, because I can find this challenging myself, a spirit who may have been a bit of a piece of work, and they're displaying that in the spirit world, and as they've
Oh
crossed
no.
over, versus a true demon. Uh, is that easy for you to differentiate, or can that be challenging sometimes?
It can be challenging
Mhm.
because, again, because of the way they mimic. And when someone was really nasty in life, that actual comes out in the afterlife, and it does create that whole kind of demon type of thing going on. So,
Mhm.
but if it's communicating with you, so I've been told to shut up a lot, you don't tell my story, and it starts badgering me that way, then I'm like, okay, non-demon, you're just a-hole,
Mhm. Yeah.
pretty
That's
much,
what I was
right?
trying to say, a-hole. Yep.
Yep. So it's kind of
He's
one of
envious of
those
the
things.
living.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so you can, because one, when we're talking demons, demons start with infestation. They're already, it's all mind. And
Right.
so, they start messing with you to start really getting you to like, okay, am I going crazy? And they want you to doubt yourself. They need you to constantly doubt yourself because the weaker you get. And then when you're with the oppression, all the thoughts that are happening in your mind, I'm not good enough, this person wants me to kill myself, those are the more that demonic type of states that happen. It's like a bully that just will not let up, and it will constantly keep doing it until you raise your hands and give up. A
Okay.
nasty entity will just kind of mess with you and be brutal, but you get more physical stuff too, like right away. It doesn't just creep back and just work on it. It just wants you to know right then and there and kind of go from there.
Right. And I can imagine, or maybe I'm just assuming, like maybe those who struggle with substance abuse and mental health issues, are they more prone to attacks in that way, just because they're more vulnerable?
I think so, but a lot of that I believe because when we're talking about, possession is rare. Because again, that is an invite in, and a lot of people don't make it past the oppression part. because they would rather just give up. And it happens more than what people think. But because it mimics mental health, so I mean, they're like right next to each other. You kind of have to watch that and have to deal with that to see what is that substance abuse, alcoholism, lifetime of depression. All these new drugs that are out that are supposed to help people have adverse effects on them. So you really have to, I mean, when you're working with people like that, you have to get all the truth. You cannot be kind. You have to know what's going on. And they are attacked more, but a lot of it is their own attacks because they start self-manifesting their own demon.
Yes.
And that demon's from inside, and that shadow behind them that's constantly lurking is something that's manifested into this monster. And people have a hard time looking in the mirror saying, I can help get rid of this monster, but then they fill a void. So they'd rather have that monster.
Right.
Sure.
Yes.
It reminded me of like the case with Emily Rose of that
Mhm.
possession, and that was it shook me to my core when like the fact that she had I think multiple demons in her, but like she had a visitation with Mary, and
Yeah,
Mary told her that she could take this pain away, or you can show the world that demons do exist, you know.
yeah,
And she's like, okay, I'll choose the demons, I'll show the world that
yeah.
they're fucking real.
Exists. Yeah.
You know what I'm
And they
saying?
are real. They are
Yeah.
real. And it does happen. Does it happen every single day? Maybe if we're talking around the world,
Sure.
possibility.
Mhm.
But again, this can go on for years. You could be in oppression from, the age of 13 until the day you die. And that means you're fighting this demon on a continuous basis just because it didn't take over physical body, but messed with you so much that you've carried it on. So, you got to look at those possessions in different ways too. Not all possessions is crawling up the wall backwards, or,
No. No.
you might end up knowing some more languages. We don't know. But again, a lot of people will live with that oppression piece and having that demon with them the rest of their life because they don't know or they don't want to, depending on the situation, get rid of it.
Yes. It's funny because I think some people uh, embrace it, whether they mean to or not. Maybe it's just easier. Maybe it's just some kind of
Yeah.
comfort. Maybe they truly don't know how to move past that. I can't think of the word, but it's just they feel it's easier to just deal with the demon than work through the issues and try to
Correct.
move forward. It's just easier to,
Absolutely.
yeah. Hmm.
We're the society is that way. I'm just going to deal with this. Just like we're like, I don't like my job, but I'm going to go every day because there's a paycheck. It pays the bills. This is how we go. And it's very robotic.
Hmm.
Same type of scenario. I'm going to get rid of that void. What do I do with my life if I have that void in me?
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Now I know I'm switching gears a little bit, but I did see, I looked at your profile before we hopped on. Gettysburg. I know there is a Gettysburg Bash coming up. Have you been to Gettysburg? I have not. It's only like 4 hours away from me.
Oh, you should
It's
go.
yeah, but the energy there is off the charts. But have you been there, Michelle?
Yes, I have.
Uh-huh.
I have. I've been there a couple of, well, 2 or 3 times. One just to visit, and I did the bash last year, and I'm doing the bash this year. But it's interesting. Excuse me. Oh, sorry.
Bless you. Mhm.
Um, so many different emotions. It's, but at the same time, the peace you feel out there, I can't even explain it. Everybody feels it a little differently, but there is this weird peace that's there,
Hmm.
even though you might feel all the other stuff and things like that. So it's really extraordinary. It really is. I know it sounds like really crazy with everything that happened there. You will feel all that. You can hear the screams, you can see the stuff. I mean, everything. But then at the same time, at certain points, it's like everything goes still and your mind, body, everything, and you don't hear the wind, you hear nothing. It just like somebody shut
Wow,
it off.
that's amazing. Yeah, I'll have to make a trip out there one of these days soon.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Come
no,
hang at the bash with me and we'll go out there.
Oh, that'd be
that would
cool.
be awesome.
You
When
should
is
do a,
that coming?
then you
Yeah.
could do a vlog together, and
Yes.
then
Yeah.
you could put it
It's
featured on our
Flying
podcast.
yeah.
chariots.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is the 24th and 25th of July.
Okay. So that's
Ooh.
coming up soon. That's cool.
Yes,
Yes.
because I fly out that Thursday, and then I'll be there and I gotta leave again on Sunday. So, but I speak on Friday night with
Oh, cool.
Johnny, and then I got the rest of the time just to kind of go run around and do whatever. So, and meet so many people, you wouldn't believe how many people actually go.
Really.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
It's cool. Yeah. That's so cool. I love how these cons and conferences have been, there's been so many lately. I know Dustin was just at a super cool one and you were on the panel and that was
Yeah, that was really awesome. That was at Fond du Lac out in Wisconsin, up north. Yeah, it was really cool. It was like a UFO panel of other UFO researchers, and we had just kind of introductions and stuff like that, and had people. There was about 80 people in the crowd that came up, and not all 80 came up, but people came up and asked questions and stuff like that. It was really cool. Um, but no, how I kind of got into the field and why I was there in the first place. I am like the custodian to Colonel Wendell Stevens' photographic archives. I don't know if you know who Colonel Wendell Stevens is. He's a famous UFO investigator from the 1960s and 70s. He's known for the big case out in Switzerland with Billy Meyer and stuff like that. And then, anyways, he's known to have the largest UFO photograph collection in the world. He died about 12 years ago, and his associate was keeping up with the storage locker fees until he recently died, and his storage locker was opened up to the public. And I got into that auction where I won over 200 original photographs
oh
of
my
UFOs that
gosh,
he actually worked on, some with negatives, and I put all this stuff on online. It went so viral where his old colleagues got a hold of me to verify that I had all this stuff. So and ever since then I've on UFO documentaries and podcasts showcasing these photographs. Um,
that is freaking awesome.
yeah, I can show
That's
you. I
awesome.
have a few of them here. I could throw. These are the famous ones: the F-117 with the stealth fighter over Pensacola, Florida, '94. And this guy who's on the beach saw this thing come out of the water, and the F-1 is taking
Holy
swings at it.
cow.
Yeah,
that's
the
cool.
clearest photographs. Look at
Yeah,
That's so
that, right
awesome.
over the water.
that is extraordinary.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that
the fact that you
is.
have the negatives too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Wow.
It's so crazy because I have worked with MUFON.
Oh, you
Really?
have. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I love them. And I'm always in awe when we talk because I've done some conferences where, they do a little bit of everything. And um they've called me on some cases
Oh,
to kind of
cool.
help and see, is it just all with aliens and stuff, or does it intermix? Because sometimes
Oh,
it
cool.
mix and so it's
Yes.
been kind of cool checking that out and not realizing MUFON how long they've been around, and the cases that they've worked on is just mind blowing. And they've got some amazing pictures too. So,
Yes. Yes. And no, actually, so this is kind of funny. Not too long ago, I was just filming some lightning in my backyard on slow motion, and just to catch, on my iPhone, I was doing it in slow motion, just to catch some lightning. And I happened to look back on the footage, and I caught a UFO straight up coming across the sky. And I'm like, no fucking way! Out of all people to catch a UFO on camera, this guy, no way. So, so I put this online and I got like 36,000 views in like 2 days. And then people were like screaming, "You send that to MUFON, send it to MUFON." I'm like, "All right, I'll send it
It's like,
to
no, I
I
mean,
sent it to MUFON."
on,
So
yeah.
I did, and they gave me here's you can read it if you, do you see it all right?
yeah.
Yeah. So this is the letter from MUFON to clarify my video is legit. And they're like, oh snap,
That's awesome.
right?
That's kind of cool.
So I have a case number. So like if you go onto MUFON and then put my case number
Yeah,
in there, yeah, it has the video and everything. Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
pretty
dope.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so amazing, Dustin. That's
Yeah.
incredible. I
Thank you.
mean, and
So
it's
are you like a star seed or an
I've been
abductee?
told. I don't really believe it, but yeah, it might be like I might have some connection with ETs or yeah, people say I have an aura about me or yeah, I like to think so. It'd be nice.
No,
I'm a
that's pretty
this
cool.
guy.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but and I believe it. I believe that the paranormal and the extraterrestrials, I believe that
Oh, yeah.
they can cross into the same realm.
Yes.
Have you ever had anything like any experiences like that during investigations?
I'm not really sure, but sometimes when there's a lot of paranormal activity, other strange things happen that you can't really say what is happening.
Yeah, straight up.
And I do believe in UFOs and all that. Everything's interdimensional somehow. Yet there is a link because of that fine line. Um, what I've liked, the one thing I did see, okay, which was crazy. I was in Rhode Island because I was doing a speaking engagement,
Oh,
and
cool.
Andrea Perrin was there. And of course, she sings to them.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
And I've never seen it. And she goes, no, I'm telling you. And people are like, no, you start seeing skies were completely black, nothing. She starts singing to them. All of a sudden, you start seeing these things come out of the sky,
Whoa.
crisscrossing, twinkling, and all that. And I'm standing there going,
Oh,
whoa, there was something, her aura too. I mean, literally brought them in.
wow.
And I'm like going, and here, like you do in paranormal, you're trying to debunk stuff. There was no way I would have been able to debunk it because it went from complete blackness to things just coming out of the skies, twinkling and crossing and all that. I'm like, one or two, maybe a plane,
Right.
Yeah, sure.
but not the way that was going. And
No.
then as soon as she stopped singing, everything went black.
It's
And I'm like,
amazing.
was this for real? So yeah, that is one of the biggest experience I ever had. And I wasn't investigating during that time, but definitely was kind of like a whoa moment for me. But it's like a kid too, like, yay,
Yeah.
That's super cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Because my thinking is they must respond to certain frequencies. I know people that they hold CE5 events. I've never been to
Yes.
one,
Yeah.
but
I'm actually hosting my first one on
that's so
next
cool,
month.
Dustin. You'll have to talk
I
about
know.
it. Tell
It's
us
another
about
woman
it.
that does it here, or is very interested in the CE5 too. And we were just talking about it. It's like we should host one and get other like-minded people together at this.
I've heard those are cool.
There's a little town that's outside of Madison called Middleton that has this area that has like Native American Indian mounds, and it has this gigantic hill where it has like a little look-off thing, where, like a little platform. So I think that'd be perfect right at the platform to have it. And it's a perfect night sky where there's no city lights
Ooh.
out there, so it'd be really nice and dark, and we could see the stars. And so yeah, we're gonna do some. I still have to do my research of how to do the CE5. It's just some form of meditation. How I think it's like you're supposed to get like a bird's eye view where you're at, and kind of like focus on. I don't know how it is. You're supposed to make yourself like a little beacon or something like that. I don't
Interesting.
know. I'll
That would
figure it
be
out.
really
Yeah.
cool to hear about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I will be interested to hear about your experience after the fact. That is super cool. And it makes me wonder if certain areas, like what you're describing, have like a vortex, something where the energy is stronger, where you can communicate with these beings. And like you said, putting out certain frequencies that they may respond to. And then you may, yep, wind up seeing something they may want to communicate.
Well, then I got a good question with that because we were talking when we put a lot of mediums together, how we can open up pretty much like a vortex or
Oh
whatever you
yeah,
want
for
to,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
And so you're beaming up all that energy. Well, what if because there's so much of that type of paranormal energy that becomes the beacon, and that's why there's more UFO sightings?
True.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. Yeah,
That's
that's
fucking
really
dope.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That one. That's dope.
But yeah,
Well,
that
hey,
just made me think about because you were talking about it and we are talking energy based, something has to
yes,
be a beacon. But if you're in these, especially if you're on Native American land,
Yes.
the spirituality that they had and what they did, that would be a huge, big vortex of nothing but energy to bring stuff in.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah,
And
maybe
think
location
about that.
means something. You're right.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
gonna say, well, I'm from Wisconsin here, so we actually, I don't know if you know this, we have pyramids, gigantic fucking pyramids here in
I
Wisconsin.
heard about you guys having that, but never seen
We
them.
have underwater pyramids too. So this is
Yeah.
Aztalan. And I go here,
Wow.
this is only 30 minutes away from Madison. And I go here, look how gigantic this thing is. Look how tiny those people are.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Dustin, why have
Yeah.
I never heard about this before? Why are you just
Oh.
showing me this now?
Am I just showing you this now? Oh, Jesus Christ.
This
So
is
That
amazing.
is
yeah,
cool.
so this place, they theorized that's why they call it Aztalan. They thought the Aztec were the ones that came from all the way from South America and set up shop here in Wisconsin. And then even the Native Americans in the time period said that these people came from afar. They dressed differently. Some practiced elongated their skulls. They built this city with the pyramids and built this gigantic wooden wall around them, and they would wage war with other Indians and would practice cannibalism. And the most weird thing about this place was they just one thing they just like dropped everything and disappeared without any signs of sickness or war. And this is the pyramid. This is the pyramid of the moon. The first one was the pyramid of the sun. So this is the
That's
pyramid of the
cool.
sun and the pyramid of the moon. This is the one staircase pyramid. But
Wow.
again, they had all this fresh food, like the river right behind them.
Yeah.
It's still, very populated with fish and stuff. So yeah, very mysterious of how they just disappeared. And they had this one princess that they worshipped, and she when she died, they had these people go, some of them go to the Atlantic Ocean to gather seashells to be buried with her. So I
That's
can imagine,
cool.
like, her burial, she's totally full of seashells from head to toe, just covering her.
I guess I'm
Uh,
gonna have to wander a little further into Wisconsin because I've only
oh,
made it to
come on to Wisconsin. I'll show you around.
Broadhead. I've
Let's
always
go.
gone to Broadhead, and
Oh,
that's as far
Broadhead,
as I've
yeah.
been, you
That's not
know.
too far from Madison. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't see all this pretty stuff.
Yeah.
No. Um, yeah, so and then we have Rock Lake that's 5 miles away from Aztalan that has 10 rock pyramids on the bottom of Rock Pyramid. I'm sorry, Rock Lake. Uh, so actually, the first settlers came and they saw these stone teepees sticking out of the water, and they were asking the natives what they were, and they said there's some ancient culture that they didn't even know much about because obviously they're underwater. And there's a guy named Frank Joseph who wrote two books about the pyramids of Rock Lake, and I'm trying to find the picture.
Yeah, I'm not feeling cool anymore, Melissa. I don't know about you, but
No, me either. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the cool stuff is
we
apparently
got
in
we don't have
Wisconsin.
pyramids.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we don't
I
have
can't
anything
fucking
here
find it
with that.
now. Oh, here it is. There we go. So this is an illustration of a guy who was scuba diving down there. So they're like elongated pyramids down there. So it's like,
Do you
what the
think they're
fuck?
burial sites?
They don't know. They have
Because the
no
way the
idea.
rocks are laying, could that be like some kind of Viking stuff?
Yeah, who
Yeah,
knows? Yeah, definitely.
I
Because,
wonder.
or the fact that, well, I don't know if you knew that Wisconsin was one of the last glaciers to like melt away from the United States. So it's just like makes you really wonder if it's before the Ice Age that this happened, you know? So it's just like,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
And even the natives were saying that there's some ancient lost culture that we don't even know about. And they were fucking old, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The...
We don't have anything that cool around these parts. Yeah. Yeah, no. No.
No.
That's just interesting. Like I said, I've been through Wisconsin, but I've never seen that or knew that was there. But you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the Midwest that now that I travel around a little bit more, I'm finding
Yeah.
these things. And
But no,
like the Native
Wisconsin's,
American
yeah,
is, they were all over the place. And so you're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's
sure.
just really amazing to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. Yeah. Now I know you said you will be speaking at Gettysburg. Do you mostly, when you do speaking engagements, do you mostly speak about paranormal, demonology, that sort of thing? Is that usually, your realm of expertise?
I speak about the spiritual side too,
Mhm.
because I also, try to, when I speak, also kind of, like I'm doing a workshop in Minnesota. So I'm speaking, but I'm also doing a workshop of how to do like a spiritual cleansing and different things like that. Because it all kind of coincides together.
Yeah.
Because, when I'm going somewhere, whether I'm helping a family in need or if I'm going to do an event, there's different layers of it. I'm not the one that just goes in with a lot of equipment and hope everything dings, blings, and everything else.
Hmm.
I'm in there getting all sorts of things depending on what that is.
Right.
And, when I talk about demonology, I went down the road of looking at different faith base. How does this all look? I also went and started looking into what the original Quran looked like, the Book of Enoch,
Oh, I love the
things.
Book of Enoch. That's my shit.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I put that, but if you really put all those together, it is one book. And it's
Yeah.
so crazy how everything does.
Different
So
names. Yeah.
Yep.
different names, different ways of looking at things, different demons, different, gods, or however that case is. So I kind of speak a little bit about all that. I do a lot of the Q&As. I love it because people do come and have problems and ask. So, kind of
Mhm.
versatile in that
Yeah.
sense. And I
Yes.
love it, and especially when we do little workshops. I love the workshops because I love when people's energy starts changing and they start feeling empowered of, okay, I can take control of myself now. And that's
Right.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes, especially if, yep, you're able to, yeah, give them some advice how they can help themselves, because I know a lot of people do not feel in control. They feel that, yeah, they've got an attachment, and people will ask me questions as well. What can I do? And I really feel that you can't just spout off anything. Well, just go sit in a bath with herbs. You know what I mean? I feel that you need to truly know how to help people. You need to have some kind of, you need to be able to give them something sound that they can work with.
Yes,
So I love that
yes.
you're well versed. And like you said, you are knowledgeable in many faiths and, yeah, the different
Yeah. Very
pantheons.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's super
And you
cool.
have to be, because you never know who you're helping. And I
Yeah.
have my own belief, and that's what I hold on. That's my protection. But if I'm
Hmm.
helping someone else, they cannot be, because they have to be full intention of what they believe in to make things work. Because a
Right.
lot of times when somebody calls for help, they're like, well, I've been saging my house every day. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Do
have no
more.
spiders, and you have no roaches. Okay. But when you start saging without knowing what you're saging, you can actually turn it and make it turmoil.
Oh,
Right.
So I don't go in blaring with a cross or throwing holy water everywhere. I
Hmm.
make sure I assess everything to know what can be a cleanse.
Right.
And the people I work with have to do it with me. It's their
Hmm.
place.
Right.
Well, I'm not going in saying you got to leave so I can cleanse your house. Well, guess what? You have to take control of your home. And so
Right.
yeah.
that's why you have to walk that fine line of what is this? What is that? And let's get you stronger so we can make it work, because I can't do it on my own.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was well said. And again, you're very, very, very knowledgeable about the subjects, and it's so cool to like finally get to know you and hear your backstory and like see what you're doing with other projects and stuff like that. Again, I saw you on Facebook. I was living a little bi-curiosity through you. I was like, who's this girl? She's got you had the most fantastic, beautiful smile I ever
Oh, well,
seen.
thank you.
Seriously, you get
You.
that a lot? I can't imagine because you have it's so bright. It's crazy. Your teeth are
I
perfect. You
get
got
that a
that
lot.
beautiful smile. Oh my God, Jesus. But no, I'm excited to have you back, and maybe I can try to get Kai from Austria, because the fact that you grew up in Germany there, and it's funny
Yeah.
because my other colleague is from Germany, and his name is Daniel, And it's just kind of funny that we have a lot of Europeans on our channel too, and we have a little fan base in Germany too. And my favorite German word is Schadenfreude.
I hear you say that often. Yep.
I fucking love that fucking word. But yes, is there a website or anything where my audience can find you?
Well, they can actually, the best way to do it is if they follow me on Facebook because I
Okay.
put a lot of things on. But I do a lot of events with Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. And if they go to riversideiowa they can find different events that they can join us with. I'm also doing some events because I do a lot with Flamery Productions,
Oh, cool.
FlameryPromotions.com. So I'll be coming to the East Coast. I'll be in Maryland, doing Lord Baltimore Hotel,
Oh,
some
nice.
other things.
That's
So
awesome.
Mhm.
at some point, Melissa, I mean, you're going to have to meet up. I don't know where,
Yes.
I don't know the East Coast that well, so it could be far
Well,
away,
I
but
want to meet up with you too, goddammit.
Yeah.
well, we're closer. We're closer.
I think I'm a little bit
That
closer
we can make
than
happen.
Melissa.
That is, we can make happen. Yeah. But like this weekend, I am going to be in Bellevue, Iowa,
Oh, cool.
and we're going to Potter's Mill, which is one of the oldest, grist mills and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's cool.
And so it's a new location. We're doing an event, so really excited to see how that goes. And if you can make it to Gettysburg, girl,
Go for it. I need to.
Do
I
go.
it.
need to get there. Yes.
Just get there. Like I said, you can hang out with us. We'll
That'd
walk
be
around.
so
You'll
cool.
probably know
Yeah,
half the people,
and then you guys could
you
do a
know.
vlog to actually
Yeah.
promote on the podcast. It'd be
And
just
then
so awesome.
and I am actually bringing one of my team members and a good friend, and he's
Cool.
a great medium too. So there would be three of us on the battlefield.
Dang,
That
look
would
at
be
that.
super cool. Yep. Seeing what
So,
everyone's picking up on and yep, what they're,
so if you
yep.
can make it work, hon, I would love to hang with you.
That'd be so
That would be
cool.
great. I will see if I can get there this year. So when is it? It's July.
July, hold on a second, I'm going to July 24th and 25th.
Okay. That's good to
So-
know.
Mark it on the calendar, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you're so
But
cute.
yes, we actually have to definitely all get together and do
Yeah, it'd be
something.
really
I'd love to-
awesome.
I definitely
would
want to
be.
come to Wisconsin and see some of that stuff. I
Yeah,
I
let's do
didn't
it.
even know,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll show the
so
hot spot in Madison and other shit
yeah,
too. Cool, cool.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, hey, that was so awesome, and I can't wait to have you back. That'd be so
Oh
cool.
yes, yes,
Cool.
and it's been a
Hey,
pleasure meeting both of you. Oh my
Yes.
gosh,
oh,
energy
you like
is
that?
So
contagious.
wonderful meeting you.
Hey,
Yeah.
did you like that AI video I made? That was
Yeah,
hot. But
it
yeah.
was.
But hey, can you stay with me for 2 more minutes?